What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Welcome to your daily dose of Manchester United content. I was going to say transfer news, but the transfer window is over. But I'm always happy to have my bro, Per-Atle Karlsen. How are you doing, bro? Good to see you.
So good to be back, Flex. I missed you, and then finally back in the UK as well. So this is all good now. I'm ready to talk some football again. Finally,
100%. You rested up. You're good. You're back in the sunny UK. Yeah, you're good. You're happy.
The sunny part I don't know about, but I'm happy at least, and I'm happy to be back with Premier League action and with the transfer action and everything. Now it's the national break, obviously, but it's good to be back. Yeah,
100%. I mean, we've got loads to talk about. Last time we spoke, we were talking about Varane, how good he would be if we got him. We ended up getting him. We weren't even stupid enough to talk about Ronaldo coming back to Manchester United. I don't think anyone was. And now look, I know you spent some time around Ollie, so we're going to talk about that. I know you spent some time around Pogba in some interviews. I wanted to get your thoughts on him. And I know you've got an interview lined up with Varane soon, so we'll probably catch up again after that because I know that got delayed. But loads to get into. I mean, let's just start with Paul Pogba, actually. I know there's the Ronaldo situation. We're going to get into a lot, but because you've spent a lot of time around Paul Pogba recently and interviewed him recently, how was he? Is there any updates on his future?
You know, always when I'm talking to Pogba, if there's an interview after the game or if it's a sit down or what it is, he's always smiling. He's always happy, and it was the same this time. He was smiling. He was telling me he was really happy at the moment. He was happy to be back playing in the Prem, feeling healthy and all that. He didn't want to go into the part about his future, obviously, but he seems happy. And I think now with the Ronaldo signing, with the Varane signing, and the Jadon Sancho signing as well, and seeing the squad developing in the right direction, at least on paper, I think it will be more difficult for him to leave now. But then again, it's the PSG situation. I think that's the only really possibility for him to go. I think PSG is the main option. So it's going to be interesting to see what's happening with Kylian Mbappe in January, and if he signs for Real Madrid, because then it's suddenly an opening for Pogba maybe to go to PSG and the money over there. So it's a bit difficult, but I think it's also more difficult for him now to leave Man United, especially if he sees in January and coming towards January that this project is actually working and the players coming in is actually lifting the team and we are fighting for trophies. Then I think it's going to be difficult for him to leave. So he'll have a decision on his hand in the near future, and I think it can go either way, really. I know Ole wants to keep him. He wants to keep him real bad. But then again, Ole is not the one negotiating with Paul. That's other parts of the club. But I know he wants him to stay, and Pogba seems happy. So we'll just have to see what's going to happen towards January.
100%. And obviously, I know you spoke to him, pre-Ronaldo, but now we have got him. How much of an impact do you think that will play in his decision making? And like you said, on top of Varane, and how important is it that Manchester United, from now till January, really, get some form and be at the right end of the table?
I think that's vital that Man United show that these signings aren't just named, but that the players that can play good together and they can play good under Ole. I think that's vital. But playing alongside a man like Cristiano Ronaldo, every footballer wants to do that, and I think that for sure will at least give Man United better cards on their hands when they are speaking and talking about a new contract. So I think if Pogba's decision was difficult before, it's even more difficult now with Ronaldo coming in, and it will increase in difficulty if Man United perform out on a pitch and picking up points and challenging for the title.
And just to finish off, Man United's position is still very clear on this. Like you said, they still want to keep the player. They see, with the acquisition of Varane, Sancho, Ronaldo, they're really building something. Bruno's already there. The Greenwood's kicking on. They absolutely still want to keep hold of Paul Pogba and not tempted to sell.
Yeah, no, they're not tempted to sell. They know if they wanted to sell, they had to sell him now to get the money out of him. And if he leaves in January, the fee is not going to be anywhere near what you would expect to get for Pogba anyway. So I don't think selling was ever an option for Man United, especially not for Ole. I've spoken to Ole about Pogba many times, and I asked him directly if Pogba is a player he wants to keep, and yes, he wants to keep Pogba. He's as he says, he wants to keep the best players in Man United, and Paul Pogba is one of the best players, no doubt about it. And what I think is interesting now, though, Flex, to see with this Man United team. I was at Molineux on Sunday watching the game there, and looking at the Man United team. Now you can really feel this team is shaping up to be Ole's team. This is not just the team he took over in 2018. This is his team. Looking at lineup against Wolves, I think it was 7 players in that lineup. That's Ole's signing or Ole's doing. Ole's, for example, Mason Greenwood from the academy, and then you have Bruno Fernandes, you have Harry Maguire, Varane, you have Wan-Bissaka at least, not least. Yeah. So this is his side now. So now it's the thing Ole has to do now is just to show that now I got my players. This is my players. This is the players I want to play for Man United. Now I'm going to show you what I can do when I have the players I want. So that's kind of the next challenge for Ole now.
Yeah, he's got to win 100%. He has to win, because with that squad now, all the excuses of, building up to this, building up to that, getting people out who don't quite have futures and stuff, which he's done a really good job of sorting out the recruitment process. It's all been done. Like you said, that squad there, when you look at it, is done. From your point of view or your understanding of it, though, we obviously didn't get a defensive midfielder in. Fred received a lot of criticism for his performance against Wolves, and not just in that game, just in general, and not just labeling it at Fred, just in general. I think a lot of Manchester United fans are frustrated at the lack of quality in the central midfield area or in a defensive midfielder. From your point of view, how disappointed were Manchester United, given our success in the transfer window with other players? How disappointed were they to not get a defensive midfielder? And were they actively looking through the whole window from your understanding?
I don't think they were too disappointed, to be honest, because their clear plan this window was to get in a central defender and also a right winger, and they got that in Jadon Sancho and Rafael Varane. So those 2 signings were the main project for Man United in this transfer window, and getting Cristiano Ronaldo on the top of that, like the icing on the cake. It was just something they had to do when the situation was like it was. So I think they're happy with the window. Yes, they have been looking for a DM, but they knew with their prioritizing that the money probably wasn't there to sign a DM of the caliber that they wanted to sign to Man United. So I don't think they're unhappy in any way with this transfer window. It's been a massive transfer window for Man United. They got some of the best players in the world, and on top of that, they got the legend himself, Cristiano Ronaldo, back to Old Trafford. So I think Ole is happy. It's nowhere to hide now, even though they haven't signed a DM, because their prioritizing was otherwise. They wanted a winger, they wanted a central defender, and if that's how Ole and the recruitment team is prioritizing, they just have to own up to that. They don't have a new DM, and that's just how it is, and that's their choosing. So now they just have to play with the players they have. And the question is, you were speaking about Fred Flex and his performance against Wolves, and the thing with Fred is maybe Pogba isn't the player to play alongside Fred in that position. Maybe Fred is even better if he can play on the DM in a 4-3-3, for example. Maybe, of course, it's better when McTominay is alongside him. McTominay has been really good for Man United in that position, in my point of view. So there are players in the team that can do a job, and but the team is never better than the weakest link, and at this moment the weakest link is the DM. So now it's all about for Ole now and Man United to get that to work, to find a solution that works. If it's 2 in the DM or if it's 1 and 2 box-to-box midfielder, that's something he has to figure out, and I'm sure he has a plan for how he's going to do that.
To finish, to move away from the DM in a bit, but do you think that Manchester United could do something towards January? Is that the high on the priority list? I know that it was always going to be next season they're going to need a number 9, i.e. Haaland, but with Ronaldo coming in and he's got a 2-year with an option to a 3rd, that's probably not going to be a thing anymore, and Cavani will leave, so they might back him up. But in terms of that being a priority now, like the centre-back was last year, is the priority now for Manchester United in January / the summer to find a defensive midfielder?
The summer for sure, 100%. The summer they're going to go for a DM. I'm almost certain about it. And I think if they will go for a DM in January, that depends on the levels on the field up towards January. If Ole and the recruitment team sees that, okay, this doesn't work, we need someone in DM. If they're not picking up enough points and the gap between the top sides are starting to increase, then they have to do something. And I think they have some players they look at, they're watching, they was speaking about Camavinga. He obviously went to Madrid. They were speaking about Declan Rice. Declan Rice was never going to happen for Man United this summer because of his price tag and because of Man United prioritizing other positions. But I think he's a man they're looking at. Ruben Neves is another one. Bissouma, Sandeberge, maybe those two types of players like Bissouma and Berge, that's maybe players you can get in January if you need it, thinking about the price tag at least. So and also getting 25 million for Dan James, they should have some money left over if they need to buy someone in January. But I think the main focus is using this team, playing this team until the end of the season, and then get new signings in next summer, and then a DM for sure will be on the top of that wish list for Ole.
Yeah, just I've been saying, bro, like Ole, I don't think we can use the excuse now with the players that we've got that we don't have a DM to be able to challenge for the league. With that team there, in your opinion, do you think that is something that will stop Manchester United being able to compete for the league, not having a defensive midfielder? Or do you look at the squad and think that there are no excuses?
When I look at a squad and also when I look at the whole picture, I think there are no excuses, because now Ole has had several transfer windows. He has had several opportunities to bring in a DM if he felt that was absolutely something that we need to bring in, and he have chosen otherwise. He have chosen to sign defenders. He has chosen to sign an offensive midfielder and a striker, etc. Several strikers actually. So he is, and Man United are prioritizing differently, and that just have to mean they're happy with what they got, and I think, okay, we can work with this. We can work with Fred in the DM. We can work with Fred and McTominay. We can work with Fred and Pogba if that's going to be the case. And so I don't think they have any excuses now. They've done their signings. They've shown everyone which kind of position they mean are the most important ones, and then they can't blame it on a poor DM if they didn't go and bought another one. And I'm not saying that Fred or McTominay is poor, but if that's gonna show throughout the season that doesn't work, I mean, they can't blame it on anything because they have prioritized differently. So, but I'm excited to see how this one pans out, because seeing Fred and Pogba against Wolves in those positions, that wasn't convincing at all.
No.
So I'm wondering about how Ole is going to set that up, and if he'll try to move away a bit from his normal 4-2-3-1 and try out 4-3-3 or something different. So,
well, we spoke about that, didn't we? The last time we spoke, and obviously you'd spoken to Ole, and he said about wanting to come away from the 4-2-3-1, wants players further up the pitch, wants to be in attacking areas, attacking spaces. And I was kind of waiting in pre-season to see if we saw a 4-3-3. We didn't really see it. I think I saw it for one half against QPR, which I'm adamant I did. Even though a lot of Man United fans said, Flex, it wasn't. It was a 4-2-3-1. I'm still adamant to this day against QPR in the first half, it was 4-3-3. But anyway, clearly we haven't played it since. There hasn't really been that shift. Is that because Ollie's aborted those plans, or is it because we didn't get the defensive midfielder? Because you're right, Pogba and Fred very rarely play together. And also it brings in the Donny van de Beek question as well. It was almost like it was any reason not to play him. We saw some quotes coming out from his agent. So we'll talk a little bit about Donny van de Beek in a minute. But why do you think we haven't seen Solskjaer kind of implement or start to implement 3 games in the 4-3-3?
To be totally honest, I don't know. Maybe he feel comfortable with the 4-2-3-1. Maybe he doesn't quite trust his DM enough to play a 4-3-3, because that's a lot of responsibility on one DM. That's a lot of responsibility on a player like Fred, for example. But Fred is an interesting case, because he's a player that was obviously good enough to play for Pep Guardiola's Man City, and he was really good when he played in Ukraine, and that's obviously nothing compared to the Premier League. But anyways, and if sometimes feel like Fred hasn't found his position at Man United, his best position, and maybe that is playing a DM alone, even though it's a much bigger area to cover and a more and a bigger job, to say it like that. But I really don't understand why Ole haven't tried to play the 4-3-3, because it's with the players he's got and the ability he's got in the team. I can see them. I'm an amateur, of course. I can see them do really.
I can't imagine you as a manager. I can't imagine that. Too nice.
Too nice, yeah.
Yeah, I can't see you shouting at the players, man.
Oh, you should see me flex. I can be a madman. No, but I'm hoping to see 4-3-3 throughout the season with Man United. I'm hoping to see it in some games. I hope he'll test it at some opponents. Maybe change it up at halftime if they have a comfortable lead. But I don't know. I think it's down to he's comfortable with his formation as it is, and maybe he's feeling too uncomfortable to change it and to give the responsibility to one DM.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely, I always say a manager can say what he wants in the press conferences, to the press briefings, to, out in the papers. But what really shows what the manager's thinking is his team selection week in, week out. Yeah. And that brings in Donny van de Beek. Towards the close of the window, all sorts of quotes coming out from his agent saying they were disappointed that Manchester United looked like they were going to listen to offers for loans, but then they didn't. Although they said that was reassuring, but obviously now he's lost his place in the Dutch squad as a result. Louis van Gaal saying he needs to spend more time playing football. How close was he to a United exit, and why did Ollie, from your take, why do you think the club blocked that move? And do you think that he'll get more game time this year?
I think he'll have to get more game time if at least if Ollie is a man of his word, and he used to be or. Normally he is a man.
I don't know. He said a lot of questions. He said a lot of things that he's not done in terms of players, individuals.
That's true, to be honest. But Donny's situation is not good, and he's out of the Netherlands squad. Van Gaal has said he has to play more. His agent Albert, he has said he's disappointed with Man United, as you say, Flex, and there were interest from Germany, from Italy, from England. For Donny's service, but Man United seemed firm that they wasn't planning on letting him leave. So, and in my opinion, that has to mean that, okay, we're going to use this player, we're going to use him. So, because if Ollie didn't have Donny in his plans, why would he keep him? Why wouldn't he let him out on loan, for example? So that doesn't make any sense to me. If they just kept on it just to keep him, just to
and you look at the first game that McTominay. Well, if you go back to the Southampton game, McTominay clearly must have known that Scott McTominay needed surgery after that game, but he brought McTominay on instead of Donny van de Beek in that game. He brought Jesse Lingard on for 5 minutes instead of Donny van de Beek, and then when Scott gets injured, so when Scott goes off for his 1 month absence, you're thinking, okay. There's Matic and Fred didn't work against Southampton, so they're not going to start against Wolves. it has to be Donny van de Beek because there's no Scott McTominay. Lo and behold, he even goes with Pogba and Fred, which still didn't even work that well. So only God knows what he's going to do against Newcastle for Ronaldo's first game. But that just shows you how overlooked he's being.
Yeah, he is, and it has to be difficult for him. I feel for Donny. He seems like he seems like a great lad. He hasn't been given a fair chance. Hopefully that will change. I really hope it will change. That he will get a chance eventually. But as you said, it's a lot of players seems to be in front of him in the queue, and every time the queue is getting shorter, another player steps in front of him. So it's difficult, and that's also one of my main thing on my to-do list. And next time I speak to Ole, I'm gonna ask him about Donny and his.
Please do. Please say to him, the fans want to know why aren't you playing him, and why are you saying you are? Please, Per, I'm gonna ring you afterwards and say and check, or I'm gonna ring you before and remind you. Please put it on Ollie in a nice way because I know you get on with Ollie. But just say what's going on.
I always when I speak to Ollie, it's always honest conversations. So I don't need to wrap up anything to talk to him. I'm just gonna ask him because it's genuinely interesting, not only for the Man United players, but for fans, but also for football fans and football enthusiasts in general. Why are you keeping a player when you're not going to use him, or are you planning to use him? What's the next step for him now? So I just want to ask him and hear what his plan really is, and then I just hope for Donny's sake as well that he will get the chance to play. And seeing Man United playing in the formation they do, I think it's difficult for him to come in because he hasn't worked in a DM's position. So it's difficult. But if I know Donny right, he's working his socks off every day in training, and it will be hard to overlook him throughout the season because all I've spoken to within Man United says he works really, really hard. So hopefully Ollie will see that and give him a chance sooner rather than later.
He's got to. I can't, especially in this moment where McTominay's going to be out for a month and then need to build back to fitness after coming back out for a month.
You know, Flex. I have to say it's not certain this is the case for this situation. But when managers signs players, there will always be some players that just doesn't fit, doesn't work, doesn't meet the demands or the qualities or whatever. So. And Donny could be one of those cases. I'm not saying that he is. I'm not saying that he's not a fit for Ole. I'm not saying that Ole has decided on anything. But we just have to keep that in mind. That's it happening. It's happening in every club. Sometimes a club sign a player. Okay, it doesn't work, and that's like okay, that's life. That's football. But I'm.
But the worst, you know, the worst thing about it is I agree that can always happen in transfers because any transfer is a risk. You know, acclimatizing to a new club, a new country, and league is tough. But I think the thing that the deciding factor in this of why it's quite bad is that it's not like the players ahead of him in that position are absolutely smashing it. That's the first thing. You look at. Do you know what I mean? You look at Fred's performances. You're thinking, Donny can keep the ball better than that. Like, even if he's not used to the Premier League, he can pass the ball better than that. You're looking at McTominay and Fred collectively. You're thinking, okay, it's underwhelming sometimes. Sometimes it works with the high energy, you know, high physicality. That works. But the quality on the ball between the pair of them, you're thinking, Donny's got to have a say. And then on top of that, even if that was a more of a sticking point, and you want to come away from that, the fact that he just hasn't been given a chance, so we don't even know. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing that I think really hurts a lot of Manchester United fans or puzzles United fans is that we haven't even seen him get a run of, say, 10 games and then say, actually, didn't quite. It's like, come on for 4 minutes here. Come on for 3 minutes here. Replace Bruno in this game in the Carabao Cup. Play well, you're never going to play. And I just feel like all of those things, Donny knows. Donny knows he could play in the Carabao Cup against, I don't know, Yeovil and score a hat-trick and have 4 assists, you know. And he's not going to play the next game. And I think when you know that as a player, you can't get any rhythm, can you? You can't get any consistency.
No, it's difficult, almost impossible, and it's doing something to the player motivation as well. It has to be so no, it's not a good situation for Donny. It's I'm guessing it's not a good situation for Ole either because I don't think he likes to leave him out. I don't think he like has anything against Donny as a player or a person. It's just one of those where I'm struggling to find an answer to it, because I don't know what's
no one knows. No one knows. You're right. No one knows. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but I can understand the Man United supporters not getting the chance to see him for a run of, as you say, 5-10 games, to see if he could be a player.
Let's just have a look. Yeah,
because no one, not even the best players in the world, could find a rhythm with 4 minutes here and 10 minutes there.
Yeah.
And one game every 6 months.
Similar to the Fred situation, when you said this was a player deemed to be good enough for Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. Yeah. This is a player who was good enough to go potentially just before the pandemic, go to Real Madrid. This is a player who played in Champions League semi-finals against the likes of Spurs, played against, went to the Bernabeu, played really well with Tadic in that game, and Ziyech dominated the game, went to Chelsea, scored, controlled the game. So we've seen him play. So just not so much at Manchester United. We'll see how that pans out throughout the year. Just quickly before we get to Ronaldo and finish off, the right back situation. There was late, kind of interest in Diego Dalot for Dortmund, but Manchester United said no. Are they just going to stick with Dalot now, or could that change in January or end of the year, or are they going to just see how that pans out?
I think that could change in January, depending on how it turns out. But I was a bit surprised about that, actually, that Ole went for 2 young right backs instead of getting one experienced one, as we talked about last time. We talked about Trippier. Probably could be the fee, could be the salary. A lot of things playing in, and it could be that Ole has seen Dalot in training this summer and think, okay, he can actually challenge Van Bissaka. So,
how much of it would you think was because of the fee of Trippier being too high?
I think that was maybe the main issue, because they can't just blast out money, and as we talked about, is Sancho and Varane, that was the prioritizing players. So I think maybe money was definitely an issue. It's been an issue for all the clubs this transfer window and the last transfer window due to the pandemic. So but I also think that if Ole and Man United was feeling that, okay, the right back is something we definitely absolutely need to improve on, they would have done something. The same, it's basically the same as the DM. They would have done something, but they're prioritizing differently. They want a CD, central defensive defender. Thank you, and a winger. So that's just what they have went for, and then they have to stick by that, and then they have to stick by the players they got. There's no place to hide now. And we have to say, the transfer window for Man United, it has been brilliant.
Exactly. You're never going to get a whole perfect squad, like 23 guys. Everyone's perfect. And it doesn't happen, which is why it's on Ole to, the coach and stuff,
And I also think this transfer window proves that Ole, he has the backing from the board now, because Sancho, Varane, that's kind of
backing, jeez, backing, and Ronaldo as well.
Yeah, and
my
Ronaldo.
goodness.
Right, yeah. You have him as well. That's fine. Yeah. So,
on to Ronaldo, man. What you're in the media? Did any of you guys have any inkling as well as to what was going on? Because Ole's presser, the reports are that he went into that presser knowing that they had already signed Ronaldo. I think Rio Ferdinand already knew before the presser. He put out a little cryptic tweet, and little pockets of people kind of knew. Was there anything going around the press room before the presser? Well, I know it's all virtual now, but was there any little kind of inklings of Man United doing that?
I spoke to Ole some days after the press conference before the Wolves game. This is a quote: "It was difficult to answer questions about him going to the other side of town when I knew what he wanted." So I think Ole, when sitting there answering those questions, he knew, and also I think that presser was the turning point for the media as well, as okay, what's happening here. So,
when he dropped that line, he knows that we're here. You guys must have been like, oh yeah, straight on, let's get
yeah, more or less. So that was an intense afternoon, but it became pretty clear pretty quick after the presser that okay, Man United are in the driving seat to get Cristiano Ronaldo, and I think they just knew it when they saw him closing up on City. They just knew.
How genuine was that? How just quickly, Per, from your understanding of things, what that interest in City, because City, you know, they came out of the race pretty quickly when they realized he chose us, but chose before he chose us. When he was, what was the interest from City? Was it definitely concrete? Was there a real chance he was going to go there? Was he in negotiations?
According to the people I've spoken to, there was definitely concrete. He had more or less agreed his contract with Man City in a verbal way. Man City was ready to find solutions to how to pay the fee to Juventus. So yeah, it was Man City will probably say now, no, we never wanted him. But the truth is that
they did.
Pep Guardiola spoke to Cristiano Ronaldo. Man City wanted Cristiano Ronaldo, and then I just think they understood when Man United came on the field.
Sir Alex changed it all.
Yeah, as you could see on Cristiano's Instagram, I think Sir Alex has a big part to play in this one, and yeah, it's gonna be massive seeing Cristiano Ronaldo back at Old Trafford, especially for all the Man United fans. 12 years after he left the club, so it's been the most crazy transfer window, hasn't it? And Mbappe was so close to topping that one with going to Real Madrid. So this, and Messi going to PSG, and now Ronaldo to Man United. So we have a lot to look forward to, haven't we?
Absolutely. And lastly, how do you think United need to adapt to Cristiano Ronaldo? In my opinion, wherever Cristiano goes, someone in the squad, there's certain players have to kind of sacrifice their game. Can you see maybe Rashford getting less numbers? Bruno, how does it affect Bruno? So many goals, so many assists. Obviously taking all the set pieces as well. But who do you think has to accommodate Ronaldo the most, maybe as an individual and collectively as a squad? How do you think Manchester United need to approach having Ronaldo?
I think the two you mentioned there, Rashford, I think he can expect harder competition. Of course, it's harder competition. With Ronaldo is going to play. He's going to play every game. He
of course.
And I also think that Mason Greenwood is going to get a lot of game time this season. He started really well, and I know that's a player Ole appreciates highly, and that means Sancho, Rashford, Martial. It's not place for all of them. So I think all the front players of Man United, Cavani as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Ole sets up his team in the big games when all his players are fit, and who has to sit on the bench and who gets to play. And I also think you mentioned Bruno Fernandes. I think he's just thrilled that Cristiano Ronaldo is coming to the club, and I think he knows that if Cristiano Ronaldo wants to take the penalties, wants to take the free kicks, he just have to. You take the free kicks. You take.
He has to. We've seen that with Portugal. Yeah. That you are the guy. You're Mr. Man United and you're Mr. Portugal. I got fullback.
But I think he's happy with that, Fernandes. I think
100%.
And I also hope for Man United's sake that Fernandes could continue to take some free kicks, but because
his success rate is probably higher.
Yeah, probably. Ronaldo is you can't take anything away from that man, but he has missed a couple of free kicks too. So,
yeah, I think that's definitely a true fact there. And lastly, Per, Manchester United, the expectancy. What's the return you're looking for from Manchester United this year? Title challenge, trophies, silverware, etc., etc.
They have to be challenging for titles. That's with this transfer window, with this money spent, being Ole's third full season in charge. They have to be challenging for trophies, and they have to be challenging in the Champions League as well. So I think I wouldn't say, because I don't think a trophy is a demand, to say it like that. I don't think a trophy is a demand, but what I think is a demand, I think the Man United board are demanding Champions League. want to play in the Champions League next season.
That's minimum, bare minimum, yeah.
That's minimum. I think they're demanding a competitive side in the Premier League. They have to challenge Man City. They have to come closer to Man City and Liverpool and Chelsea. They have to be in that mix, and they have to challenge in the Champions League. I don't think, let's say if Ole and Man United finishes top 4, exits the Champions League in the last 16, and then are 15 points behind Man City and no trophies, then I think it's yeah, then it's going to be difficult to argue. But I think that the thing is, with Ole signing a new contract, that means, okay, Man United believes him in, and the changes happening at Carrington as well, that's something the club is really, really happy about, because it's a lot of positive changes at Carrington. So I don't think probably the Man United fans will, they don't like me for saying this, but I don't think a trophy is a demand, but Man United, it's a demand that Man United is there. They have to challenge for the title. They have to challenge for the Champions League trophy. They have to challenge in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. And if he could pick up a trophy along the way, even if it is the Carabao Cup or if it is the FA Cup, it would just, I think it would mean the world for this team to start winning, because they need to start winning, and they just signed the biggest winner of them all in Cristiano Ronaldo, and he's going to demand nothing less than perfection every game.
Have to win. Yeah. You know, I know obviously from a media point of view and a club point of view, I do agree with what you're saying about how the club would view it, but absolutely, I think many fans, I can't speak for everyone, but a lot of fans I've spoken to, and me on a personal level, I'm saying he has to win something. He has to. With that squad, I'm not saying he must win the Premier League, but he has to be completely challenging for it and has to pick up a trophy, or get to finals. You know, you can win you can lose or win a final, but yeah,
would you be happy with the season with a Carabao Cup win and a 3rd place in the Premier League?
I think it would be a little bit under. It would depend on the context. If we were 3rd but only 3 points off actually winning it because it was really tight, you'd have to say you're going in the right direction and you picked up a trophy. But we want Champions League. I mean, some Man United fans have said our squad's probably more capable of winning the Champions League than the Premier League. Consistency is our problem with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So I don't know. What I do know is that as a United fan, and I'm looking at it, all the reasons as to why the squad's not quite there yet, and Ole building, they're kind of gone now. The spotlight's just been turned, and it's on Ole now because the players are there. Yes, the defensive midfielder situation, I understand, but City don't have a striker. Lukaku wasn't at Chelsea last season. They won the Champions League. You never ever have everything. You know, when Conte was at Chelsea, he won the league with Victor Moses as a right fullback and Alonso. Like. You know, if you're a good manager, you can, nullify your weaknesses and, intensify your attributes, your strengths. And that's what Ole's got to do. Our strength is attack. So he needs to find a way that midfield, we might not control games, but we are going to get you when we have the ball because of what we have. And the back 4 or back 5, including De Gea, is very good now with Varane as well. So no excuses. Listen, Per, it's been an absolute pleasure as per usual. Viva Ronaldo, he's back. I can't wait. I'm sure you guys can't wait to cover it as journalists. And we'll speak again very soon, man. Thanks for coming on United View as per usual.
Looking forward to speaking to you again, Flex. Always a pleasure joining in on your show. So hopefully, I said a few wise things. I don't expect too much. Don't expect too much. You
always say wise things. You always say wise things.
We'll see. Looking forward to next time.
Nice one, guys. If you're new, subscribe in the bottom right hand corner and smash a like on the video. And also remember, you can follow Per on Twitter as well. Is that just Per-Atle Karlsen on Twitter? It is, right?
Per-Atle Karlsen, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there you go. So make sure you follow him for all the Manchester United updates. Oh, you might have to hit translate though, because sometimes obviously a lot of your tweets are in Norwegian. But we all got phones. We can do that. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. We are out of here. Peace.